If you're new to sports betting, you've probably heard a term called closing line, also referred to as CLV, which stands for closing line value. It's not a song that is very popular when bars close at 3 a.m. It is actually a term used in sports betting. It's very important. The goal in sports betting should be to beat the closing line as often as possible. So this video, I'm going to talk about what closing line is and strategies on how to beat the closing line in sports betting. What's up, everybody? My name is Matt Modi. I'm a content producer and betting analyst for OddsJam. And as I mentioned in the intro, this video is going to be all about closing line and closing line value, or CLV, in sports betting. So in order to understand closing line value and how to beat it, we first need to explain what exactly closing line is. It's pretty simple. The closing line represents the final resting place of the odds before betting on the event closes, so right up until game time. It sounds more confusing than it is. All you need to know is that the closing line is just what the spread is, or the total, or the money line is right at the time the game starts. So for example, we're betting on a Sixers game, as you can see. Let's say that by the time the game starts, the Sixers are 3.5 point favorites. That just means that the closing line is 3.5. So the easiest way to explain everything is to provide an example. So that's exactly what I'll be doing. So this game, it says starts at 7 p.m. But let's just pretend this game has already started. Before the tip-off, betting has closed. So let's just pretend that. As you can see, the spread is at 6. The total is at 153.5, and then the money line is plus 220 and minus 270. That is what the closing line is for all of these markets. So the closing line on the spread is minus 6 and plus 6. The total, the closing line on the total is 153.5, and then again, for the money line is plus 220 and minus 270. And beating the closing line means that you got odds better, or a spread or a total better than what is currently listed on the screen here. So let's pretend that I bet Iowa at -4. And the spread, the closing line on the spread, ended at -6. That would be positive closing line, or that would represent positive CLV, positive closing line value. Conversely, let's say I bet Iowa at -8, and now the closing line is at -6. That would be negative closing value. Same concept is true for money line and the total. So in this case, let's say I got the total at 151.5. That would be positive. Conversely, if I got it at 155.5, that would be negative. And the goal as a sports bettor should be to beat closing line, or to generate positive closing line value more times than not, essentially over 50%, but the goal here is to make it over 60, 75%, anything like that. Another example of closing line value, or closing line, and this is where you can use OddsJam at the most to your disposal, is when the odds you are getting on a sports book has better odds than what the OddsJam perfect line calculates the odds to be. So another example, let's say I want to bet on this hockey player prop. BetMGM offers -110 odds on this hockey player prop. It's the player points over for a player called Sam Bennett. On BetMGM, they price this at -110. But the sharpest sportsbook out there, the sharpest line calculating software out there, the OddsJam perfect line, prices this to be at -143. That also, betting this, has positive closing line value, because the odds we are getting it at are better than what the true line of the play is calculated to be. So again, there's two different ways you can generate positive or negative closing line value. One is getting a point spread or a total or a money line better than what the odds end up being when the line closes, or you are getting a line better odds than what the true line of the play should be. So there's two different ways to generate positive closing value. Another thing that's nice about OddsJam is your homepage will tell you exactly how often you are beating the closing line or generating positive closing line value. For me, my number is at 75%. As I mentioned before, the goal is to be above 50%. So if you are above 50%, you will be a profitable sports bettor. And the higher the number, the better. So the higher this percentage is, I guarantee the more profitable of a sports bettor you will be. So now that we know what closing line is, we know what positive and negative CLV is, the next step to becoming a profitable sports bettor is, well, how the heck do I beat closing line? How do I get positive closing line value? How do I get positive CLV? Well, there's a couple ways to accomplish this, and luckily signing up for OddsJam accomplishes every one of these. Number one is to be signed up for every sportsbook that is available in your state. So make sure that if sports betting is legal in your state, you look at the description, you find out what sportsbooks are available to you that you are not currently signed up for, and you go ahead and you sign up for those bad boys using the links below so you can take advantage of the sign up offers. The reason why this is important to beating closing line is because the more sportsbook you are signed up for, the more chance you have of getting, or the best chance you have of getting the best odds. So you are line shopping, you are constantly looking out for the best odds. So why get Michigan at +6 or Michigan State at +6 like the example I had if another sportsbook had them at +7? You're just getting a higher number. That is a way to beat closing line. Another way to beat closing line is to bet positive expected value. That's what I do. That is how I got my number all the way up to 75%. I just always bet positive expected value. So that means every bet I place, I am getting a positive return on expected value from the OddsJam perfect line versus the line I'm getting it at. So like that hockey example, I bet that actually. I got it on BetMGM at -110 odds, whereas the true line had that at -140. So again, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to beat closing line to get positive CLV. And the important way to do that is to line shop by signing up for every sportsbook that's available in your state. And number two, by always betting positive expected value. And that's pretty much it. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. Again, my name is Matt Modi, content producer and betting analyst for OddsJam. If you like what you heard, I would appreciate you send a comment to the YouTube chat. We'd love to hear the feedback. If you hated what you heard, would also love to hear that feedback so I know what to do better. But that's all I got for you. So again, please remember to comment. And then lastly, please like, share, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. Tell all your friends about it. We just want to help as many people cash. But that's all I got for this video. So thanks for watching and have a good one.